Hi everybody. Now we shall discuss about this last unit our protection against overvoltage and grounding. So the contents what I'm going to discuss in this are nothing but the generation of overvoltages in power system, protection against lightning overvoltage, valve type and zinc oxide lightning arresters, insulation coordination, VIC impulse ratio, grounded and ungrounded neutral system, effects of ungrounded neutral on system performance, and the methods of neutral grounding, solid resistance reactance, arcing, ground and grounding practices. So let us discuss about this generation of overvoltages in power system. What is meant by an overvoltage? An overvoltage is nothing but a voltage pulse or a wave which is superimposed on the rated voltage of the network, or when the voltage in a circuit or part of it is raised above its upper design limit. This is known as our overvoltage. As if you observe over here in this picture, it is clearly um, available that these spikes, sudden spikes are nothing but our voltage is nothing but a transient, but it's a lightning type impulse. Its duration will be of 100 microseconds. Now its operating pulse, its time damper ring wave, its frequency is of 100 kilohertz to 1 megahertz. Okay, this what are the causes of this overvoltage? The overvoltage of a power system may be broadly divided into two main categories. Internal causes, it can be of due to internal causes and can be of due to external causes. So coming to this internal causes, there may be due to this switching surges. The overvoltage is produced on the power system due to switching operations are known as the switching surges. Insulation failure. The most common case of insulation failure in a power system is the grounding of conductor, which may cause overvoltages in the system. And next is the arcing ground. The phenomena of intermittent arc taking pulse in line to ground fault of a three-phase system with the consequent production of transients is known as arc ground. And this happens when there is the presence of a sporadic arc in line to ground fault belonging to the three-phase system. Here, short-lived oscillations are produced in the system due to some changes in the voltage and the current flow. And this phenomenon may lead to serious problems like a breakdown of the insulation and may harm equipment connected to this power system. So very important thing, this is arc grounding. Okay. Next one is the resonance. This one occurs when the value of the inductive resistance in the power system becomes equal with the value of the capacitor resistance. External causes. This type of overvoltages originates from atmospheric disturbances, mainly due to lightning. This takes the form of a surge and has no direct relationship with the overvoltage of the line. It may be due to any of the following causes like a direct lightning stroke, electromagnetically induced overvoltages due to this lightning discharge taking place near the line called side stroke. Okay, and voltages include due to atmospheric changes along the length of the line. Electrostatically induced voltages due to the presence of charged clouds and nearby. Electrically induced voltages due to the frictional effects of small particles like dust or dry snow in the atmosphere, or due to change in the altitude of the line. So now we are going to focus on the protection against lightning over voltage. So the surge arrestor is a device capable of providing this protection against this transient voltages. So the surge arresters along with the spark caps, surge suppressors, overhead ground wires, neutral earthing are used at various locations to intercept these lightning surges. And they can also minimize the peak and rate of rise of surges. The transformers and other equipments are protected against temporary power frequency over voltages. IDMT relay, nothing but inverse definite minimum time relay, are used to provide protection against this power frequency temporary over voltages. The over voltage relay is connected to the secondary of your PT, which gives tripping command to this bus bar or line circuit breaker under the event of power frequency over voltage surge occurs beyond these permissible limits. So the following table shows the type of our over voltage and corresponding protective devices. See, this is the type of over voltage, protective devices used, and operating time. Here the type of our over voltage is temporary over voltage, Protective devices used for the temporary over voltage relay and circuit breaker, and its operating time will be less than 70 milliseconds. Next type is the lightning surge. It will be of microseconds, and the protective device used for this is the surge arrestor, and the operating time will be of 1.2 microseconds. It can be of 1.2 microseconds. And the switching surge is of 1 microseconds, and the protective device used for this will be of surge arrestor, having an operating time of 1.2 microseconds, and the switching surge, which is of microseconds, having a protective device as a surge arrestor, having the operating time as 100 microseconds. The AC network in this transmission has various power frequency voltage levels such as 400 kV, 220 kV, 66 kV, 3.3 kV, 11 kV, and 400 volts RMS continuous at 50. Each voltage level has highest system voltage at power frequency such as 420 kilovolts, 245 kilovolts, and 3.6 kilovolts, 440 volts, etc. Corresponding to 400 kilovolts, 220 kilovolts, and 3.3 kilovolts and 400 volts respectively, each equipment is designed and tested to withstand this highest system voltage at power frequency without internal or external insulation failure. Coming to this valve type, it is an expensive surge diverter, also known as a non-linear surge diverter, and the details of this resistors are shown in this figure with a series of spark gaps and non-linear resistor discs made up of materials such as thyrite or matrosel in series. Here is our valve. Okay, here are the various spark gaps, porcelain housing, and non-linear resistors with the current terminal over here. Okay. This is the non-linear resistor set with a series of spark gaps and grading resistors which are connected to this line, having a ground to this non-linear resistor set. Series spark gap assembly. It consists of number of series gaps consisting of 2 electrodes with fixed gap spacing, and the voltage distribution across the spark gaps is made linear with the help of additional resistor called grading resistors of high value across the gap. And the normal system voltage is easily withstood by spacing of series gaps. With a high voltage, there will be breakdown of spark gap to divert the surge current to earth through non-linear resistors. If the voltage variations are comparatively slow, then because of influence of grading resistors over that of spark gaps, prevents the spark overs that may be caused due to slow changes in voltage, maybe because of internal over voltages during the coupling operations, may not hazardous to the system. So when the voltage variations are fast, then the potential is not evenly graded across the series gaps, and the unbalancing capacitances between the spark gaps has more influence over grading. The over voltages are mainly concentrated on upper spark gaps, which while sparking over cause complete arrested to spark over 2. The interrupting capacity of the spark gaps unit can be increased with the help of grading resistors. Under normal working conditions, the leakage current is always less than 0.1 milliamps and approximately which flow through the resistors. This is sufficient to maintain the enclosures at specified temperature above ambient so as to prevent the effect of moisture into enclosures. Coming to this non-linear resistors. Non-linear resistors are made of an inorganic compound, thyrite or matrosel. These discs are in series to form a block. With the increase in applied voltage and current, the resistance decreases quickly, and the residual voltage is hence maintained through current is high within the limit. And the non-linear resistor have the property of providing high resistance to current flow of normal system voltage but low resistance to flow of high surge current. That is, its resistance decreases with increase in the current and vice versa. Hence, the power follow current after the surge is over and can be easily interrupted with the help of a resistor blocks by spark gaps at first current 0. It's working. Under normal operating conditions, the system voltage is not enough to cause a breakdown of air gap assembly. Under the condition of over voltage, there is a breakdown of series spark gaps and the surge current quickly reaches to ground and to ground through nonlinear resistors. The nonlinear resistors will offer very small resistance to the flow of that surge current whose magnitude is large. Thus, the surge is over and the resistor blocks offers a high resistance to the flow of this current and the current is interrupted. After approaching towards the equipment to be protected, the surge takes around 0.25 microseconds to reach the arrestor, and the whole operation of this arrestor takes place in a very short interval of time, and it is about 20 to 30 microseconds. And the arc is extinguished at first current 0 by cooling and lengthening of the arc, and also the voltage and current are almost in phase. The volt ampere characteristics of this valve type lightning arrestors can be observed over here. These are the dynamic characteristics. Okay, in the normal condition, the voltage is is maintained constant with respect to current, whereas this dotted line represents the static characteristics, whereas this becomes the dynamic characteristics as it reaches to after the fault current, a high surge current reaches the ground, it again comes to 0. That's why it again mounted to 0. Okay. The closed curve represents the dynamic characteristics corresponding to the application of voltage surge, while the dotted line showing the static characteristics. And the horizontal tangent drawn to this dynamic characteristics gives the voltage known as residual voltage. See, this is the residual voltage. The tangent which is drawn to this dynamic characteristics is nothing but our residual voltage. And is the peak voltage during the discharge of surge current. Depending upon the type of arrestor, that is either line type or station type, discharge voltage varies from 3 kV to 6 kV. And this voltage is also affected by magnitude and wave shape of the discharging current. And the impulse ratio of unity is obtained for these arrestors according to the design of the spark gaps. Hence, high values of surge current cannot be interrupted. The impulse breakdown strength is smaller than residual voltage, which decides the protection level for insulation coordination. Coming to the advantages, the operation of this arrestor is very fast within a fraction of a second, and they are suitable for effective protection of transformers and cables against the surges. And what are the disadvantages? Means it's a very steep wave front type of surges are not being protected by these arrestors. Fortunately, the lightning surges on the transmission system are attenuated as they travel over the line towards the substations, and they are within the reach of the protection circuits in the substations, but proper care should be taken to prevent the surges of severe intensity, and efficient form of shielding should be used. And the performance of this type of arrestors may be affected if there is an entry of moisture in the enclosure. This problem can be solved by sealing the container hermetically, or enclosures are filled by inert gas and contain some form of dehumidifier, or allowing the leakage current to pass to maintain the temperature within the limits. Coming to this zinc oxide lightning arrestors. This is a new type of lightning arrestor developed and it is used now, and it consists of a non-linear resistor block, and main element of the arrestors is a metal oxide or normally zinc oxide, which is economically compared to thyroid arrestors. There are no series gap, and its degree of nonlinearity is more than that of the thyroid resistors. And the zinc oxide type of arrestors provides better surge protection with more stable protection characteristics, and has a simple construction and similar to valve type, but the valve element is a dense ceramic body made up of zinc oxide and other metallic oxides. Coming to this insulation coordination, the electrical equipments are expected to provide service for more than 25 years. The insulators give support to these conductors, and the insulation system of an electrical equipment, which may be internal or external, is often exposed to continuous normal operating voltages and abnormal overvoltage occasionally. The insulation system is designed normally to withstand peak power frequency system voltage, occasional temporary power frequency over voltages, and occasional lightning and switching surges reaching the equipment. Let us consider the factors to be considered while deciding the insulation requirements. The peak of normal operating power frequency voltage which the system is exposed to continuously. The temporary power frequency voltages, over voltages lasting from few milliseconds to seconds due to thrown off loads, faults or resonance. And this is the picture. See, this is the duration of our over voltage, and there will be temporary power frequency over voltage over here for a period. Up to here it's a normal amplitude of a sine wave. From this duration of voltage is of a temporary power frequency over voltage. Okay, temporary power frequency over voltage. The transient over voltage surges which fast for few hundred microseconds, which are due to lightning, switching strikes, traveling waves, and the surges are intercepted by surge arresters and protective equipment. The lightning surge and the switching surge can be observed over here. This is the lightning surge and this is the switching surge. Whereas for lightning surge, the T will be less than 100 microseconds, switching surge it will be T less than 300 microseconds. The withstandable levels of the equipment's typical impulse test voltage wave is shown in this figure. See, this is the impulse voltage wave for lightning impulse test. Here is our linear function, it is linearly increasing and thereafter it gets decreased, where the voltage at the V2 will be of half of the input voltage of V1, half of V1. Okay. T1 will be of 1.2 microseconds and T2 will be of 50 microseconds, whereas this is the power frequency over voltage test wave for switching impulse test. The T1 will be for this will be of 250 microseconds and T2 will be of 2500 microseconds. Impulse ratio. It is defined as the ratio of the breakdown impulse voltage of a wave of a specified duration to the breakdown voltage of a power frequency wave. Impulse ratio is the ratio of breakdown voltage under surge conditions to the breakdown voltages under power frequency conditions. And the impulse ratio of any lightning arrestor is therefore a function of time duration of these transient waves. Grounded and ungrounded neutral system. Grounded neutral system. In this system, the neutral is acted either directly or through resistance or reactance depending on the requirement. Thus, the system neutral can be grounded effectively or non-effectively. So, in effectively grounded system, the neutral is grounded directly and hence it is called solid grounding. Ungrounded or isolated neutral system, and effects of this ungrounded neutral system will be observed here. As the name indicates, the system neutral is not connected to the earth in this system. Thus, the neutral is isolated from the earth and a simple isolated neutral system can be observed here. There is always a capacitive coupling between the conductors and the earth, which causes capacitive current to flow in the system. And the line conductors have capacitance between one another and to the earth. Therefore, the capacitance between the conductors is represented in delta, while the capacitance between the conductor and earth is in star for three phases. So, as the grounding characteristics of the system are little affected by line capacitances, they can be neglected. The capacitance to the earth phase is uniformly distributed along its entire length, and for all the calculations, this capacitance is grouped from a single capacitor connected between each phase and earth. And these current lead their respective voltages by 90 degrees since it's a capacitor. And shown in this phasor, you can easily observe that here is our star as well as delta for the ungrounded system, having each capacitor connected between the phases to the ground. And this represents our phasor diagram. As this is our capacitive currents, these are definitely the voltage will be in leading at 90 degrees. The circuit diagram and the corresponding phasor diagram during the fault is shown now. As if there is a surge on the phase B, it can be on phase R, Y, B. See, this is Y phase. There is a fault on this Y phase. Here is our generator circuit. These are the bus bar lines R, Y, B. So, if there is a fault on this Y phase, okay, then this corresponding phases. The fault current over here, which is of resultant of this IRC and IBC. Okay, since The incoming current must be equal to the outgoing current, or by Kirchhoff's law, all the current summation must be equal to 0. Thereby, the fault current is the summation of our IBC and IRC, which are having a phase lag of 60 degrees between them. Under fault condition, the capacitive currents are unbalanced and the fault current flow through the faulty line into the fault and returns to the system via F and through the earth capacitances CR and CB. And the current in the star line has two components, one IRC and the other IBC, and the respective voltage drive these currents are BRY and V, and the phase difference between the currents and voltages is 90 degrees due to capacitive nature of the impedance of the circuit, and the vector sum of IRC and IBC gives the fault current IF. Voltage to F of R phase will be root 3 times of VR. For a B phase, it will be root 3 times of VB, and IRC will be equals to our VRY by XRC, and that will be equals to root 3 times of V phase by X. Similarly, we have IBC, VYB by XBC, and that will be equals to root 3 times of V phase by XC. Both B phase and XC are equal, and fault current is given by the vector sum of IRC and IBC. Importance of neutral grounding. There are many neutral grounding options available for both low and medium voltage power systems. The neutral points of the transformers, generators, and the rotating machinery to the earth ground network provides a reference point of 0 volts. And this protective measure offers many advantages over an undergrounded system. Ungrounded system, like reduced magnitude of transient overvoltages, simplified ground fault location, improved system and equipment fault protection, and reduced maintenance time and expense, and greater safety for personnel, and improved lightning protection, reduction in frequency of these faults. Coming to the methods of the neutral winding. The following methods are adapted for non-effectively grounded systems. These are for non-effectively grounded systems: resistance earthing, reactance earthing, arc suppression coil, or a resonant earthing transformer, solid grounding are the themes. So coming to these resistance earthing, in the case where it is necessary to limit the fault current, then the current limiting element must be inserted in the neutral and earth. One of the way of achieving this is the use of resistance earthing, where one or more resistors are connected between the neutral and earth. The resistor may be either of wire or a water column resistance for voltage of 6.6 kV and above. So metallic resistors do not change with time and require swift maintenance. But owing to its inductive nature, they have disadvantage with overhead lines. Exposing to lightning as impulses or the traveling waves are subjected to positive reflection and cause a stress on insulation, resulting into its breakdown. So liquid resistors are free from these disadvantages and have simple and robust construction. So the figure shows the earth occurs on the phase B and the corresponding phases. Capacitive current IR and IY flow through the healthy lines. And the fault current not only depends on the zero sequence impedance of the source, but also on the resistance in the earth circuit. So this fault current can be resolved into two components. One in phase with the faulty phase voltage, and other lagging the faulty phase voltage by 90 degrees. And this lagging component of current is in phase opposition to capacitive current, and it changes with change in value of the earthing resistance. Thus, the value of this resistance is designed in such a way that during faults on any phase, a current equal to full load current of largest alternator or a transformer flows in earth resistance, which will keep the overvoltages within limits. So with fault current lagging component equal to this capacitive current, the system operation is similar to solidly earth system, and no transients occur due to this arcing ground. So this is the circuit representation of a resistance type. See the earthing resistance, the fault current which is traveling through this ground. Okay, and this is the corresponding phasor for this circuit. The fault currents IF1 and IF2 will provide us the resultant fault current IF. Okay, and we know that the phase voltage, how to represent our phase voltages as well as our line voltages with the help of this neutral. Okay, this is the phasor diagram. So with high value of earthing resistance and low value of reactive current than capacitive current, then the system conditions approach to that of ungrounded system with chances of transient overvoltage to occur. The line to earth voltage of the healthy phases at the time of fault is little more than line to earth voltage of the solidly grounded system operating under similar conditions. So the duration of this voltage can be reduced by using suitable protective switchgears to avoid any harmful effect may be caused. So the value of the resistance to be inserted in earth circuit is given as R is equals to VL by root 3 into I. So where VL is the line-to-line voltage, I is the full load current of largest alternator or the transformer. Coming to the reactance earthing. In this type, instead of resistance, a reactance is connected between the neutral and earth with the ratio of reactance to resistance more than 3. And the system is represented over here and the length of this earth fault occurring on phase 4. Let the earth fault is occurring on phase B. So in addition to zero sequence impedance of the source and faulty phase up to point of fault, the fault current is dependent on reactance. The fault current is dependent on reactance. So by changing the value of the reactance, the fault current can be varied. So in practice, this method is employed to do characteristics similar to solid earth system. So there is a drawback of the system. With increase in reactance, there is increase in transient voltages resulting from arcing. Hence, it is not commonly employed through it ensures a satisfactory relay, partial grading of equipment installation, less interference with neighboring circuits, and intermediate cost. So for reactance earthing, it is necessary that the magnitude of the fault current should be at least 25% of the three-phase fault current. This is higher than the requirement on resistance earthing, and thus it can be seen that the resistance earthing and the reactance earthing are not similar. Okay, the reactance will be considered. Okay, between the neutral and the earth, we are going to consider the reactance, which is not similar to our resistance. Okay, arc suppression coil or resonant earthing. This system is also referred as arc suppression coil grounding. In the previous earthing methods that we have discussed, that the earth fault on any one of the phases causes total shutdown of the system. So continuity of supply cannot be maintained. So this is not the case with this ungrounded system where fault on one phase will not cause other phases to supply power. So this method of grounding has this advantage of isolated neutral system along with the reduced possibility of arcing grounds. Numerous other advantages are also there for this system. So it consists of a coil called Peterson coil or ground fault neutralizer or arc suppression coil, whose function is to make arcing earth faults extinguishing, and in the case of sustained faults to reduce the earth current to low value so that the system can supply power with on one line earth. Okay, so the system can supply power with one line earth. Okay, this system works on the principle that when inductance and capacitance are connected in parallel, so the resonance takes place between them, and because of the characteristics of this resonance, the fault current is reduced or can be neutralized. So the system with the fault on phase B and the corresponding phasor can be observed here. There is a fault on phase B, RYB. Okay, there is a fault on B phase. It is our reactance with possible adjustments such that the resonance can be observed over here. When there is occurs a resonance, the fault current can be reduced and corresponding phasor for this. Okay. So an arc suppression coil is an iron core reactor similar to oil immersed transformer connected between the neutral of the system and earth. And this coil is provided with a number of tappings so that it can be tuned with the capacitance may vary due to varying operational conditions. As the system operation is similar to isolated neutral system, the phase 2 earth voltage of healthy root 3 phase is times the normal phase voltage, and the resultant capacitive current is 3 times the normal charging current of one phase. So the resultant capacitive current will lead by 90 degrees with faulty phase voltage, while the fault current lags by 90 degrees with faulty phase voltage. So now we have IF equal to IC at resonance, that means the pole current will be equals to our capacitor current, and that means capacitor current is nothing but the phase voltage per reactance. So it's a three-phase volt. Okay, IC will be equals to 3 times our phase voltage to reactance. Thereby equating those two, V phase by XL is our fault current, 3 into V phase by X is our capacitive current. So equating these two at resonance, we will get a relation as the line reactance XL will be equals to XC by 3. We know that the inductive reactance formula XL, okay, that will be equals to omega L, whereas XC is equals to 1 by omega C. Hence omega L is equals to 1 by 3 times of omega C. Thereby L is equals to 1 by 3 omega square C. There is one problem with this above method. As the operating conditions vary, the capacitance of the network also vary, and this can be overcome by using a tapper coil. The appropriate tapping is required to be used for each of the change in the network conditions. So the current rating of the coil is given by I fault will be equals to 3 times the phase voltage by reactance, capacitor reactance. And the time rating of the coil used in the system where earth faults are located and removed is around 10 minutes. So in other system, continuous time rated coils are used. The coil is tapped in order to select the reactance depending upon the length of the transmission line and the capacitance to be neutralized. The arc suppression coil is connected between the neutral and ground. The reactance of the coil can be evaluated by using the expression L is equals to 1 by 3 omega square C. So the rating of the coil is continuous and equal to the maximum earth fault current. If a double phase to ground fault or another ground fault occurs, the current flowing through the coil is more. See, there is the arc suppression coil which is having the tappings such that the required resonance can be observed over here. Here is our earth fault relay and the DC supply for our tipping circuit. Okay. Earthing transformer. When the transformers or generators are delta connected or if the neutral points are not accessible, then artificially the neutral earthing point can be created with the use of a star connected earthing transformer. Such transformer has no secondary. Each phase of the primary has two equal parts. There are 3 limbs and each limb has 2 windings providing opposite flux during the normal conditioning. So once a set of windings are connected in star providing the neutral point, the other ends of this set of windings are connected to the second set of windings, and the directions of the currents in the 2 windings on each limb are opposite to each other. And the small exciting current is circulated in the winding during the normal operation. Under faulty condition, the transformer offers a low impedance path to the flow of 0 phase sequence currents. So the value of the fault current is limited in some cases by the use of a resistor in series with the neutral earthing connection. And this is necessary in systems with the operating voltage between 2.2 kV and 3.2 kV. And these transformers are of a short time rating in the range of 10 seconds to 1 minute. Hence, the size of these transformers is small as compared to power transformers of same rating. If the earthing transformer is not available, then a star delta transformer is used. See over here, you can easily observe that the winding of an earthing transformer and its schematic arrangement for an interconnected star connected earthing transformer. See, with 3 limbs. 3 limbs. Okay. Solid grounding. In this method of earthing, neutral is directly connected to earth by a metallic connection or a wire of negligible resistance and reactance. And the changing current flow through the system under normal conditions similar to ungrounded system. And because of the connecting of system neutral point to earth, it always remains at earth potential at all operating conditions, and under faulty conditions, voltage of healthy phase will not exceed. So the solid grounding is represented over here, and whenever there is an earth fault on any one phase, the phase to earth voltage of faulty phase is 0, while voltage to earth of the remaining 2 healthy phases will be normal phase voltage, as neutral in this case is not shifted. The phasor diagram is also shown here, and the capacitive currents flowing in this healthy phases be IR and IY. Okay, these are the corresponding pictures for that. solid entity. See, the resultant capacitive currents is a vector sum of IR and IY, and the alternator in addition to this capacitive current also provides the fault current IF1, and this current flows from fault point through faulty phase and then return to the alternator through earth and neutral connection. And the resistance of this earth fault is negligible, and the magnitude of the fault current after the analysis is given by the fault current will be 3 times the phase voltage by total impedance, a positive sequence impedance, negative sequence impedance, and zero sequence impedance, sum of all those impedances. Okay, and this current is mainly dependent on zero sequence impedance of the source of the power and that of phase conductor up to the fault point. As the resistive component of zero sequence impedance is normally negligible, the fault current, which is large, can be assumed as a lagging the fault phase voltage by 90 degrees. So from the phasor diagram, it can be seen that the fault current and the capacitive currents are exactly opposite, due to which the capacitive current is neutralized by high fault current, which eliminates the possibility of arcing grounds and over voltages. Thank you.